and welcome. This is the Market Wrap. I'm Agam Vakil. We've started the week on a relatively weaker note with the Nifty giving up another 95 points. And with that, we've also seen the Nifty close below the mark of 11,200. For now, in terms of the advanced decline ratio, as you can see, not looking very good. We have only two stocks ending the day with gains of over 1%. That includes ICICI Bank and IndusInd Bank. On the losing end, some more concerns coming in for Indiabulls Housing Finance, which is why it's lost 12%. Grasim, Tata Motors, Vedanta, Bharti Infratel, Bajaj Auto, all losing out over 5% in today's day of trade. Let's talk about what we can see in the broader markets. And as you can see here, when it comes to the advanced decline ratio, we just have one gainer for two losers. Granules India, though, making a little bit of recovery, well, advancing, as is the case for KI, OCL, and Kansai and Nerolac, where we've actually seen an expansion in margins. And Chennai Petro and Suzlon Energy also advancing. On the losing end, Vodafone Idea, what a terrible day of trade it's turned out to be for this one. It's down 27%. A quarter of its market capitalization wiped out in just one day. We have weakness in Lakshmi Vilas Bank, Grasim Industries, Reliance Infra, and some of the other usual suspects in that list. But on that note, let me get in our markets editor, Neeraj Shah, for his thoughts. Neeraj, what do you make of today's move? Very unfortunate.
Yeah, well, the market may not be Vodafone Idea, but it's certainly all the other things that are happening today, unfortunately, in the session. And this is not on the very high volumes, by the way. So that is part one. Part two, interested to see what the FPI mood is looking like today. The Economic Times, of course, reported how there might be some years being lent to that community, quoting the FMS saying, having said in interviews, SEBI's working on things. So we're all hoping that might just change the sentiment around a bit. But the market seems to be concerned about growth not picking up, and that certainly is the order of the day. So, well, a lot of unfortunate moves. Autos getting clobbered today, maybe with reason. All of them had gone up without reason, expecting that maybe they will choose. And Yatin will speak more about it, I'm sure. But yeah, so enough and more candidates out here to suggest that there is some more weakness. We've corrected quite a bit. There are not enough shorts in the system, but that is not to say that we can't do more. Maybe there could be a bounce, but as of now, nobody is even talking of there being a fundamental reason to go out and invest currently. Let's wait and watch. Let that trade settle, and then we'll think about it.
Absolutely. Well, Neeraj, thanks for that perspective there. So, well, not a lot of people, not a lot of takers in the markets, but let's talk about the auto sector that Neeraj just alluded to. And there is a lot of weakness out there. And I'm going to get in Yatin Mota to talk to us about the sector. Yatin, what's going on?
Nothing's going on, Agam. That is the main reason why the auto sector and the auto index is at a 3-year low. Starting with earnings call for Maruti as well as Bajaj Auto, both of these managements of large auto companies have been talking about demand uncertainty, which is there in the short term. Of course, everybody is hoping that in the festive season things could improve, but both these managements have said that the dealer's inventory situation has slightly deteriorated in terms of dealer inventory days moving up. Not only that, the government on the weekend, announced two, changes. One was the tax on electric vehicles was reduced to 5%, which is GST, versus the earlier level of 12%. That apart, we had the Ministry of Road and Transport proposing a hike in registration fees, and more importantly, a form of scrappage policy which was dilutive in nature. The markets were expecting a better scrappage policy for commercial vehicles. That really did not come in because they were expecting some kind of fiscal benefit, some kind of a duty cut. That really didn't happen in the scrappage policy. In fact, the registration fee was proposed to rise 3-folds, 4-folds in certain cases, including the likes of two-wheelers, which are already facing demand slowdown. So it's a combination of weak earnings, disappointment on the government policy front. Most of them were expecting some kind of a stimulus, some kind of a tax cut. That really didn't happen over the weekend in the GST Council meeting. And probably such a big reaction to all of these. Maruti down 5%, Bajaj Auto 5%, all of those stocks.
A pretty weak day for the entire auto sector. Yatin, thanks very much for getting us those details. But we also have a little bit of a move when it comes to State Bank of India. And this time it's on interest rates. We have Shefali Malik who's joining us to give us an update on the same. Shefali, what are the updates?
Well, around last hour of trade or so, SBI came out with the announcement that they have cut interest rates across maturities. In fact, in the afternoon, the news came out that they have cut interest rates. And for fixed deposit rates, they've been cut by about 20 to 75 basis points. And the cut has been steepest for the tenors, the shorter tenors, and the bulk deposit rates, that is for the deposits above 2 crores and above, for longer tenors, they've been cut by about 35 basis points.
Right.
So that's the news. Basically, the rationale is that we spoke to Mr. P.K. Gupta of SBI. He said that liquidity conditions have turned surplus. The credit demand of late has been very muted, so that gave them the headroom to go ahead with this interest rate cut. And this in turn will eventually reflect in the lending rate cuts, but he said that it might be to the tune of about 5 to 10 basis points. So remember, since the start of the year, that is 2019, we've already had 75 basis points cut from Reserve Bank of India, and the only concern was that it's not getting transmitted by the banks. So now it has finally started coming through. Last week we had Bank of Baroda cutting rates. Now State Bank of India, the largest PSU bank, has cut interest rates, so the others may just follow in the next few days. And remember, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, she just said that she honestly wishes that there is a rate cut, because it'll really do a lot of good for the country. So State Bank of India has in a way obliged, and they've cut the rate, and we hope to see more such rate cuts coming in. And next week we have the policy as well, so that also remains important to watch out for. And more importantly, now when the lending rate cuts also start happening, whether the corporate India will start borrowing more, and what impact will it have on the corporates, that'll be interesting to see.
Absolutely. Shefali, thank you so much for getting us those details. So, of course, the big event next week is the credit policy, and we got all eyes on that one, on the back of which we can expect some movements as far as interest rates are concerned. But on that note, it's a wrap on the markets, but lots more lined up. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint, and we'll keep bringing you more.